In this tutorial, we want to talk about turning. To begin, I'm going to go up to NC, down to Lathe, and then select Turn. Down at the bottom, SURFCAM is asking me to select the beginning element of the part. I'm going to zoom up on this corner and chain the part from this corner here to this corner here. The next question is to select the beginning element of the material boundary. We have a material boundary up here, but since the highest point on the part is close to the material boundary, I don't necessarily have to use it. So I'm going to skip this question and click on Done. Later on, we'll talk about how to use the material boundary. Now our tool information appears. I'm going to stick with this tool, the 1/64 OD face turning tool. I'm going to change the tool number to 1 and then leave the feeds and speeds alone as I go to the Turn Control tab. I'm going to make a few adjustments to this operation here on the Turn Control page. First thing I'll do is change the undercut from No to Yes. This will allow the tool to drop down in these grooving areas slightly. Down a little bit farther, we have a stock to leave in X and a stock to leave in Z. Since I'm going to finish the part with this tool, I'm going to leave both at 0, which means we cut to finish size. Notice right below that, our rough and our finish cut is set to both. I'm going to change the roughing depth of cut to 75 thousandths, and I'm going to leave the finished depth of cut at 10 thousandths. I'm going to ask for 2 finishing passes down here. Notice our cut angle is 180 degrees because we'll be cutting from right to left. When we retract, we'll retract at 90 degrees, pulling straight up away from the part. I'm going to give it a little bit of a lead-in move here. I'll give it a 100 thousandths lead-in for all passes, and I'll leave the lead out alone. Now we click on OK, and SURFCAM will ask us to pick the lathe retract point. Once again, I'm going to use the point I used previously by clicking on Point, clicking on the point, and then clicking on Done since we don't have a lathe retract clearance point needed. I'll accept the tool path, and there we are. In this example, I've drawn an orange profile that represents the material boundary of a casting. We're going to machine down to the green profile you see below. By using a material boundary, you'll eliminate unnecessary tool motion along that profile. To begin, I'm going to move up to NC, down to Lathe, and I'll choose Turn. The first thing SURFCAM asks me to do is to select the beginning element of the part. I'm going to chain the profile from here to here. The next question is to select the material boundary. The material boundary will be from here to here. Now when the tool information comes up, I can go to Turn Control. I'm going to select Undercut Yes again, have a rough and finish cut at both. Roughing depth of cut I'll leave at 75 thousandths, finishing depth at 10 thousandths. We still have 2 finishing passes. We still have a lead-in of 180 degrees of 100 thousandths length. Now I'll click OK. SURFCAM then asks me to pick the lathe retract point. I'm going to pick the point out here. There's no need for a clearance point, so I'll click Done and Accept. As you can see, rather than have tool motion here where we don't need it, we have tool motion close to the part based on the material boundary.